are you?
I'm well.
I'm good. I'm happy to have this conversation with you.
I'm so honored to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm honored to be here. We're glad to do this. We're going to make this very fun. I am an artist, a singer, a musician. I'm a preacher, and I am someone who is excited to be making connection with the new burgeoning scene of millennials in ministry. I go to church, but it's definitely tapped into the church culture. Culture comes with styles, music, influence. You know, a church guy knows about the new church music, church styles, how church operates, and the identification of being a church guy kind of has all those things with it. I'm hoping that I can, from my experience and who I am and how I identify myself, be someone to speak to some modern issues, some questions from the perspective of being a church guy, but also from the perspective of being an individual, a unique individual. So even if my answers don't line up, the goal is to be absolutely honest. I can't do that. That's like asking a kid their favorite pizza. All of them, you know. I do really in no particular order. First of all, let's just throw Jake's out the conversation because he is Jake's. So he is. We can't, saying you like Jake's at this point is like saying I love Michael Jordan. It's like, duh, you should. So we appreciate all that he's contributed to us. He's Jake's. Oh yeah, I grew up full gospel, so I just adore Bishop Paul Sylvester Morton Sr. I mean, like that's not even worth talking about. I could talk about that for an hour. I could talk about our founder for an hour. I do like Talis Chapman. I do like Tola Morgan. I do like Charlie Dates. I do like Craig Oliver. And interesting enough, he's not a hooper, so I like his teaching style. I like a lot of the middle. I mean, there are legends, like you named earlier, Ralph West, those type of guys. But the on the way legends, I'm watching them now. They're kind of approaching. I mean, we all love everything that Jamal Brown is doing right now. I mean, Jamal know he is our guy. He know. But yeah, I like a lot of the guys. But I mean, there are some people that I pay close attention, which I obviously will not name, to not listen to, because I believe if you just listen to everybody. Like, put it in rap terms. Like, if you like Wayne, some people you're not going to listen to just because they don't, reflect who he is. So there are some voices where, if I'm on YouTube scrolling, I see him, I'm just, let's get on past him. And you'll never know. Right. Yeah, brunch. I mean, brunch is just crazy. Like it's. I've been to a brunch on a Sunday. If I didn't have to be at church, I would be at brunch. Oh no, but seriously, I think when it comes to church, a lot of millennials have measured it and said this don't necessarily work for me in this phase. So I know I want to stay connected, so I'll stream or I'll just hear it. But I don't think that's a bad thing though. I think that the bad thing or the real question should become, why is it not lining up? Let's look, let's see, like if there is a church principle or something that they should be taking away from this. If there's a promise, if there's a prophetic culture, why is this not coming to pass? Why is this not happening? Because if you look at church right now as a like a store, they've made a lot of promises that have not happened, and now it's like malpractice. Like now you can sue them. To the backslider?
Sure.
Oh my God. Because I'm married to the backslider. But no, I'm joking, but that's putting me somewhere. Like you left church, but he hasn't left you.
Right.
When people, I'm thinking about when Jesus was resurrected and Peter led the disciples to go fishing. And they did, you know, as we know, Peter didn't show up at the crucifixion. He denied him 3 times. And while they was on the boat, they saw what they thought was a ghost, but it was Jesus. And it's the real thing about that is like, y'all left me. Y'all wasn't there. You didn't stand up for me. I'm coming after you though. And so the real idea is like, if you have had any encounter at all with Jesus, he said, and lo, I'll be with you always. That make me think of Tellis Chapman, but even unto the end of the earth, you know. So that's the biggest thing I want them to go away with. Like, you know, this ain't gonna go like how you think. You're not gonna just walk away from God, and He's not gonna keep he gonna keep bugging you. You're gonna have to deal with Him at some point. So we see you when you come back. We see your anniversary. So these are not church questions that's coming up.
They're not a whole lot of them.
So this is about the world.
So these are kind of like general
And secular and sin and in the world. Because I won't do those very well because holiness. Okay. Amen. Dating, sex, and relationships. Yeah, I think every single person in church is doing one of those 3 or all of those 3. And so it should be discussed. Yeah. Well, dating has changed so much in past times that I think a lot of people who are upfront discussing the stuff don't know how to relate to it. And so here's the issue. The conversation of dating from a church perspective is always a matter of opinion. There's not many scriptures that show you an example of how dating works in modern times. Like, there's arranged marriages and all that kind of stuff all through the Bible, but what we're doing, it's not a lot of that. So we're leaning on the preacher or the pastor's opinion, which don't mean nothing to me if you ain't dating the type of girl I'm dating, or if you ain't single like I'm single. You know, a lot of times we hear preachers who've been married for 40 years telling you how to date. It's like, come on, bro. You know what I'm saying? So that's for dating. Sex, we're just not supposed to have sex. So what we gonna talk about it for? It's like, and I think that's a unhealthy way to approach it, because clearly everybody in here is. So how do we approach it? It just takes some thought, and it takes some coming out of a place of rules and do's and do nots to come into a place of really dealing with a person. And relationships, you know, we gotta define them. So yeah, it takes some thought. It takes some, what does dating look like now? It takes some of what we talked about earlier, people in high places you got to get down with the people, with the sheep, to understand what it is they're doing. We are not doing what you were doing. And then it's not better or worse. You're just different. Obviously extremely different. And I think that the difference of how dating is taught to men and women is what sends men and women on different paths. And it's not just church in this case, it's family as well. Okay, this is what I remember. Like, women in church, and of course I hope all the women watching this don't get upset with me, are very often taught like that marriage is the goal. Not just the goal of dating, but just the goal of life. Like, in church, it's like to be somebody's wife. And even if you got a degree or got a future or got a job, it's almost like, you know, girl, once you get married, you've made it. And that actually kills the women who do get married and realize, I don't want to be around this guy no more. He's awful. He's crazy, losing their mind, because this was taught to be the goal. And that creates its own list of problems. But one thing that I think church women don't know, church youth, or whatever they are, men are not taught that. Men are not taught that. Men are taught even in the world, like in the real world, like from your family, your goal, your destination is success. However you need success to look, however you plan for it to look, it is success. And then success does have an overall look, you know, establishment, money, whatever. Marriage is something nice along the way. That's how men are taught. Like, it'd be good for you to, on your way to becoming the CEO, you know what you ought to have? You know what would be good? You know what to look nice with your CEO badge? A nice wife. And it's like, okay, cool. So then if you don't get married, you're not feeling bad because it's just like something to get you there. And you hear kind of what people put in the atmosphere. And a woman, behind every strong man is a strong woman. And men are kind of like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, you keep saying that. Men don't respond, but that's how men are taught. So when a lot of times women may not understand, and I don't want to speak for them all and generalize them, why this is not so much an urgent problem. Somebody just told me that the other day, like, so what you gonna do? How you gonna get married? How you like you're not gonna make it? What you gonna do? How you gonna get married? And I was just like, bro, I got like 90 things to do first, and that's how guys look at that. That's how guys were taught. So you can imagine how the men and women bump heads when it comes to dating. If a woman is dating you, expecting that you know what she know, in that we're supposed to be trying to get married in 2 years. And guys is like, I ain't know that. I thought we was going to see Bad Boys 3 and Just Mercy. Hold on. That's a strong difference. Everybody should just know that the person you're with is not thinking what you're thinking. So tell them what you're thinking. And make sure it's clear. And reiterate what you're thinking. Because some people, when you tell them, it's like, they don't listen. It's like, whatever. I always jokingly say, women pay attention to what you do. Men pay attention to what you say. So when women, whatever you do, it don't matter what you say. For men, whatever you, the opposite. However I said it. So I think that, like, just make it clear, like, I'm seeing this right now as a date or as a meal or as a nice text message. I'm not marrying you. Or for a woman, the opposite way. Like, we've spent time together. I'm hoping that this can go deeper. Let me know how you feel about that. Nobody's wrong. Everybody just needs to be more clear. Men and women don't speak the same language at all. They're not taught the same thing. And they both think that each other know. And that's a big problem. And this is something that somebody who's been 50 years married, who does speak the same language as his wife, can't really speak to, Absolutely. Absolutely. By God's design, there are things and that a woman's approach to something and a man's approach to something is both needed. It's different, but it's needed. And even though you can be different and have different languages and different approaches and still be on one accord. You just have to find where you're needed, how you're needed. But I think that the biggest problem with that is, like, I always think, like, logically. I social media, like everybody else, and I see some woman say, why don't men such and such and such? It's like, because we have no idea what that means. We have no idea what you're talking about. So, and men the same way. Why women don't feel like this? Because they don't know that. But in life, there are different approaches that I will be better for. And then there's another approach that your wife will be better for. Or your girlfriend, or, for that matter, your sister. Like, it's just a woman. So yeah, it's by design, but it just needs to be understood. Anything you think, which camera? Anything you think a man knows, if you didn't say it clearly, directly to him, he does not know. He has no idea. Just wanted to, I hope that helps somebody. I'm very glad that you guys came and joined us in this conversation about Ask a Church Guy. There was a lot of questions that stretched me and pulled me. I hope that I've opened up the door for you to have conversation with your friends and your people and your church. If you will take some time, I will open up my platforms for you to ask me questions directly about anything I said. To be clear, I know that some of the stuff I may have not gotten into the way I should have, but just let me know, hit me up. I want to talk about this stuff. I want to open up this platform because every church guy is not the same. I'm the type of church guy that believes the things I said. Another church guy may not. So reach out to me, hit me up, Gerald Scott.